You see a dog on the street and your hand moves before your brain decides anything. You reach out. You need to touch it. Not look at it. Touch it. This isn't a quirk. This isn't just because animals are cute. For roughly 75,000 years, touch has been one of the most important survival tools your species ever developed. Your hand reaching toward fur isn't a modern habit. It's an ancient reflex wearing a t-shirt and standing in a parking lot. Why does this happen? Why can't you just look at something soft and walk away? The answer starts before you were even born. Touch is the first sense that switches on inside you. Long before your eyes open, long before sound means anything, your skin is already working. Researcher Gilbert Gottlieb studied the order in which senses develop in mammals, and touch comes first every time. Sight and hearing show up later. Smell and taste later still. But touch is already running the show in the womb. That means your need to feel something soft isn't learned. It's foundational. It's the operating system your body was built on before anything else was installed. So when you see a dog or a cat or even a stuffed animal in a store, that ancient operating system activates. Soft, warm, touchable. Your hand responds. But why would evolution care this much about something as simple as touch? Because touch isn't simple. Touch is medicine. Tiffany Field, who runs the Touch Research Institute at the University of Miami, has spent decades studying what happens inside the body during physical contact. Her findings are consistent. Touch lowers cortisol. Cortisol is your stress hormone, the one your body pumps out when you're anxious, threatened, or overwhelmed. A few seconds of skin-to-skin contact can measurably drop it. Not in theory. In blood tests. This isn't unique to humans either. In the late 1950s, psychologist Harlow ran an experiment that changed how scientists understood comfort. He gave infant rhesus monkeys 2 artificial mothers. One was made of bare wire and dispensed food. The other was made of soft cloth and dispensed nothing. The babies fed at the wire mother when they were hungry. Then they immediately climbed back onto the cloth mother and clung to her. Food wasn't what they needed most. Contact was. This is the part that should stop you for a second. For most of the 20th century, scientists assumed affection was secondary. A nice bonus on top of survival needs like food and shelter. Harlow's monkeys proved otherwise. Comfort through touch wasn't optional. It was as close to a biological requirement as food itself. So if touch calms your body and bonds you to others, where did that wiring come from? Anthropologist Robin Dunbar has spent his career studying primate behavior, and he found something simple but powerful. When primates touch each other, when they groom one another's fur, their brains release endorphins. These are natural chemicals that create feelings of calm and pleasure. The touching wasn't just hygiene. It was bonding. Now picture an early human group, roughly 75,000 years ago, somewhere along the coast of what is now South Africa. At Blombos Cave, archaeologists led by Christopher Henshelwood have found something remarkable since excavations began there in 1991. Tiny shell beads. Pieces of ochre, a reddish pigment, deliberately processed and used. These weren't tools for hunting or cutting. They were for decoration. For touching the body, for adorning it, for engaging with texture and color in a way that served no immediate survival function. Let's reconstruct that scene for a moment. A small group sits near a fire as the light fades. Someone strings shell beads onto a cord. Hands pass them around. Fingers brush against smooth surfaces, against each other. No one is hunting. No one is building. They are simply touching, sharing, sitting close. This wasn't decoration for its own sake. This was social glue. The same impulse that makes a chimpanzee groom another chimpanzee's fur was now showing up in humans, dressed differently, but running on the same ancient circuitry. And there's a chemical reason this circuitry stuck around for so long. Physiologist Kirsten Moberg has shown that physical contact triggers the release of oxytocin, sometimes called the bonding hormone. Oxytocin reduces stress and increases feelings of trust. It's the same hormone released during childbirth, breastfeeding, and close physical affection between partners. Every time you pet a dog, your body may be releasing a small dose of the same chemical that bonds a parent to a newborn. That's the twist most people don't expect. Petting an animal isn't a cute side habit. It's tapping directly into the same biological reward system evolution built for keeping families and tribes together. Which raises an obvious question. Why does this extend to animals at all? Animals aren't your tribe. They don't share your language or your fire. This is where the story gets even stranger. Geneticist Greg Larson and his colleagues have traced the domestication of dogs back at least 15,000 years through a mix of genetic and archaeological evidence. But domestication wasn't just about wolves becoming useful for hunting or guarding. It required something else first. Proximity. Repeated physical closeness between humans and wolves, generation after generation, until touch itself became part of the relationship. In other words, humans didn't just tame an animal. They extended their ancient touch bonding system outward, beyond their own species, onto a creature that learned to respond to it. That's why a dog leaning into your hand feels like more than physical contact. On some unconscious level, your body is running the same program it would run with a family member. Calm down. Trust this. Stay close. Now think about your own daily life for a second. You don't just pet dogs. You touch fabric in a store before buying it. You run your thumb along the edge of a smooth stone. You hug a pillow without thinking about it. You scroll past a video of a cat and feel an almost physical pull to reach toward the screen, even knowing there's nothing there to touch. None of that is irrational. It's 75,000 years of wiring colliding with a world full of glass screens and synthetic fabrics that can't actually satisfy it. Here's the counterintuitive part. Modern life has made touch scarcer than almost any point in human history. For most of the time your species existed, physical contact with other people, animals, and natural textures was constant. Sleeping in piles for warmth. Grooming each other for lice and bonding. Sitting shoulder to shoulder at a fire. Now you might go entire days touching nothing but a phone screen, a keyboard, and a steering wheel. That gap hasn't gone unnoticed by your body. It still wants the contact your ancestors had every day. So it reaches for the nearest available substitute. A dog at the park. A cat curled on a couch. A soft sweater you can't stop touching while you're deciding whether to buy it. This isn't weakness. It isn't being too sensitive or too soft. It's your nervous system doing exactly what it evolved to do, in an environment that gives it far fewer chances to do it. So the next time your hand moves toward a stranger's dog before your brain even finishes the thought, you'll know what's actually happening. You're not just being friendly. You're running code that's older than language, older than fire, older than almost everything else about being human. You wake up some mornings, and the first thing you reach for isn't your phone. It's the dog curled up beside you. Your hand finds fur before your eyes even open. That's not a habit. That's 75,000 years reaching back.